Bertrand Russell, who said they would inject us with mercury to brain damage us at birth, he said a rebellion by the proletariat, the general public, would be as impossible as a rebellion of sheep against the practice of eating mutton or lamb chops. They see us, we're almost at that point where it isn't about Obama. You understand, he's a puppet. McCain's a puppet. We're pointing out that Obama is the heir apparent. Pat Robertson's now endorsing him to fool the people to going along with the next phase of collectivism. Dr. Blaylock?
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. That everybody looks at the president. The president is an empty suit. He's being manipulated by the foundations. They decide policy. The president doesn't. The Congress doesn't. Nobody in the government really makes any decisions. And if you look at Congress now, they're paralyzed. I talked to Bob Barr privately a couple of years ago, and I asked him, I said, when they stole all these FBI files, is that what's keeping Congress under control? He said, absolutely. He said, they have dirt on everybody. They know what everybody's done, and they're all terrified to resist in any way.
And that's what the surveillance state's about. Okay. 67%, a national average, of foster children are on SSRIs.
Oh, yeah, and, if you look in the physician's desk reference, it says children shouldn't be on SSRI, that they induce psychosis, they induce a higher incidence of suicide, homicidal thought patterns. So they know that. The SSRI is a very bad medication, and if the FDA was real, if it was really a regulatory agency, it would have been removed long ago.
And, Doctor, as you know, in the trials of the first big one by Eli Lilly in the early 1980s of the SSRI Prozac, they admitted internally that it caused massive increases in psychopathic breaks, homicide, suicide, but they went ahead and approved it.
The girl hung herself, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you see, this is what I talk about in the film Nutrition and Behavior, is that most of the things we see in children that have to do with abnormal behavior are due to a poor diet and toxin exposure. And that if you change that, most of these children undergo a radical improvement in their behavior.
And by the way, let me stop you. Even mainline studies that you see in the press occasionally admit that getting them off dyes, getting them off processed sugars, getting them exercise has massive, better numbers than Prozac, which they even show is detrimental. Go ahead.
Well, all this is in the mainline peer-reviewed journals. It's not, from something in alternative medicine. This is in mainline medicine.
Did you see the latest?
The fact that most physicians don't read this.
Did you see the latest?
They don't read the research journals. They're not even aware of this.
Did you see the latest number from 2008 that 100 million prescriptions for SSRIs in 2008 in the U.S.?
Oh, absolutely. And when Bush had the program where he was going to have all the children examined psychologically and have them placed on medication if they needed it.
New freedom.
This is absurd. That's not the function of the federal government, to have people psychologically evaluated and placed on medication.
But that's
something as dangerous as SSRI medication.
But that's what the eugenicist Aldous Huxley, whose brother later ran the UN, Julian Huxley, who became the head of the Eugenist Society and the head of the Transhumanists, he said they would drug the public. That's where THX 1138 and Brave New World come from, because that was the plan, and now they've got 100 million people on them.
Sure. I mean, in the book Brave New World, they talked about the drug Soma, and that you would calm people down, and then you'd have another drug to excite them when you wanted them excited, and when you wanted them apathetic, you put them back on the Soma again.
And now they even have an SSRI on the market, Doctor, called Soma.
Absolutely. And his book, Brave New World Revisited, goes into the nonfiction description of all of these things.